Hey y'all, how you doing? It's Women's Genevieve, laced in space constellations on LSD. Thanks for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else and you decided to be here with me. So I always want to show gratitude, always want to show appreciation. Because I know it's one of those things, like you got to find something that tunes you in, and I hope that I'm it. I hope that I make you feel safe here. I hope that this is a place where you can, express yourself and learn through yourself, because I really love Astro. I really do. Word, it's a lifesaver. It's really a lifesaver for me. And not even in a religious way, because I'm trying to build context. So always build context with whatever you believe in, because on Earth it's crazy. Like, example, I was watching the last episode of Manifest, and the way Angelina was so devotional is what most people do with Jupiter. They have to find a meaning, especially when it gets to the 12th house, when they're ready to die for it. And remember, Piscean energy, 12th house, is still very shadow. Unless you understand your shadow works and you know your levels, you know your limit. That house can be very scary for you, because it also rules places you go when you don't know your limit, like prisons and hospitals. So just always find context in what you do. Always know that you're on Earth, and that it's okay, and that it's normal for you to sin. And if you're not able to surpass that or get over the fact that we're all human, yes, this stuff can become crazy for you. Right. So today I wanted to talk about location and the importance of location. I think this is a big part of astrology that's maybe not always touched on. Something that I've been coming into my own studies. Most importantly, maybe it is being touched on. I'm not in those spaces. Always want to be humble. I'm a Leo rising, so I always gotta stay humble, right? So with a Saturn and Aquarius. So I just don't really see location. And location is very important, because I'm seeing some of my inaccuracies go through this. I'm seeing some of my struggles go through this. And especially points when I'm like, I had the formula, but because I didn't take in context of location, I missed the mark. So why is location important? Why is it important that they ask you when you do a chart reading where you live? Because of demographics, because of, cultural issues, because of dynamics of Jupiter, laws, policing, business. So one big thing I feel like, that also allows a lot of Black astrologers to be a little bit more creative as we come into astrology. Because, a lot of our counterparts and a lot of traditional astrology might not fuck with how we express astrology. I see that we're very much, sometimes overwhelmed in these groups where it's multicultural, because a lot of our understandings are still very emotional and intuitive. And that's because, again, Jupiter is not always placed in our areas. Good schools, mentorships, good policing, businesses that are in our name, spaces where we can learn and find refinement that is within our culture. We don't have a lot of those. So a lot of our understandings to education, to adapting in society, is still very emotional. It's still very oppressed. So it's just really understanding that, it's okay if we're creative, because there's not a lot of work. There's not a lot of text about our experiences. We have to really go look for it. It's more of word of mouth. So that's why I feel like if a lot of us come out with some new formulas, some new energy for the astrology game, run with that shit. You are the new scientist. You are the new scientist. Because there's not enough evidence of what your experience go through. And that's what I learned with when I do astrology and I don't take in sessions and I don't take in location. If someone's from Southside Chicago or the Bronx, Venus is going to operate different for them than someone who lives in Beverly Hills and, in a mansion with a maid who has Venus. And that's when you get deeper into understanding the person, because you're looking at their location. Someone on the northern side, on the East Coast, is going to have a way different experience of, Saturn than someone in the deep south. And I'm taking in context to that, because I'm like, okay, I get a lot of down southerners, because I'm from New York, so I get a lot of down southerners who people from more of the country, the south, who have Saturn aspects, who have Libra aspects. More of my city people, my West Coast, my East Coast, they have more Mercurial placements. Geminis, you know, Sagittarius is definitely, because dynamics of location. Texas, more of the people where there's more movement, trying to get into movement. And you take into context of location, there's not a lot of books of Jupiter being in the hood, of Saturn being in the hood. A lot of the context is a malefic because it's a malefic for white capitalist spaces, like a Saturn, like a Uranus. But look, a Saturn placement for us is excellent. 2008, Saturn and Pluto comes into Capricorn. Obama gets elected. 2017, Saturn comes into Capricorn. Make America great again. But what was it? The push of reparations, the push of black businesses, the push of policing, proper policing, just more of a stance for black platforms. So those aspects are going to be malefics for capitalist spaces, privileged spaces. So it's not going to make sense to us when we're like, okay, we feel Saturn all the time though, like in the books, because there's not enough of our words, of our representations. That's why I have to finish my book. Right? This is just a message for me too. And whoever else knows that they have something to say, something to offer to the movement, and they still silence themselves, or they still procrastinate, however the case may be. Right? So Saturn's always going to be a malefic for them, for privileged. So it's going to be like, oh my God, it was worse times, like so crazy. But for people of color, it's going to be excellent times, monumental times. Even when Saturn was in Capricorn and Aquarius 30 to 29 to 30 years ago, we just got into the brink of fuck the police. Hip hop, baby, started to what it is now. We left that hip hop, and we went straight to what it was, to the actual black experience. Feel me? The actual black experience. So we got to understand that Moon is going to, struggle here. So of course there's going to be a lot of single motherhood and, never really getting past certain family karmas, because there's not enough of these, like, it's a system. We have to get context of the system. That's why astrology is bigger than your natal chart. You go to progressions, you go to solar returns, you go everywhere in this one chart. It's bigger. I just want to push this because it is a phenomenon right now that a lot of people are interested in. And I'm sensitive about it. I'm sensitive about it. Maybe because I'm still young and I'm still, moving through it. But if you're serious about this, just know that everything needs moderation. You cannot look at something where you're breaking up with somebody because they don't work with your chart. You're using your chart as a weapon. And yes, that can be in good context. Like if you're a Mars, like me, or if you're like a Saturn, you're like, fuck yeah, I want to use my chart as a weapon. Or Cancer, or those kind of dynamics. If you just have fire energy, or Saturn, like, authoritative energy. But in Mars. So, but in like the bigger scheme of things, it's just very important to know that your chart is just basically a game plan, a play. But whatever the other team does, like, it's not anything personal. Everybody just wants to win. Everybody just wants to get theirs. It's just your chart, and understanding it through these depths takes you to a level where you can now deal with everyone, because you're every sign. But you gotta go there. You gotta take this shit seriously. Like, you gotta be like, zoned in. That's what I mean. I'm like trying to get so zoned in that I really can't. I really don't. I'm really not even building the patience anymore to just deal with whatever. Like, no. Like, there's a study to the game. There's a winning method. And this is what it is, a winning method. It's not about, it's a play. You got the understanding of a play of your life. How you choose to run that play based off your emotions, based off your circumstances, is up to you. But this is your play. This is your game. It's nothing personal. It's just sometimes there's some planets who work better than other planets, who have stronger, and you understand your lineage. That's why you take it to an ancestral route. So you understand the overall thing of what's happening to your lineage. What you went through, what your parents was going through, why they were going through it, what they needed, what you now need to get to bring that, to suffice that feeling. It's really in that space. But again, back to understanding moon, all these dynamics, all these planets are going to struggle. They're going to struggle because there's not a lot of emphasis on the Black motherhood, the Black fatherhood, the people of color, parenthood. There's not enough